All right, y'all. So what you're about to see is another recap of my very first BFL. Yeah, this is long overdue. That tournament was February 11th, but I got footage, and I want y'all to see it. And who knows? I mean, somebody might find this stuff useful, coming from the perspective of a female, a first-time co-angler in these type tournaments. So here you go. Hope you enjoy.
For these type tournaments, you can't fish without me.
She did catch all of them. I'm proof. I watched them.
All right, guys. First BFL tournament is in the books. I learned a lot without asking a lot of questions to my boater, who was freaking awesome, by the way. Ron Cato was my first, and he definitely set the bar high for boaters, and just that interaction between the co-angler and the boater. I've heard so many things about how most boaters don't want you on the boat, and of course don't get in their way, and there's just so many things that you don't want to do when you're on somebody else's boat. But the reality of the matter is, guys, is that for these type tournaments, you can't fish without me. So why make that, just why make it unbearable? You know what I mean? Like, I can't fish without you, and you can't fish without me. And if you're going to fish these BFL tournaments, then the attitude of the co-angler and the attitude of the boater, they should be one to where it is a cohesive effort between the two. You understand each other's needs, you understand the boundaries, you understand the rules as a co-angler, and you understand the rules as a boater. I really don't feel like it would be too difficult, but at the same time, you got buttholes on both sides, on the boater side and the co-angler side, and people are just going to be who they are. So I'm praying that every boater that I get is just like Ron, and if they're not just like Ron, they're better than Ron. So thank you to Mr. Cato for an awesome experience. Thank you for the lessons that you taught me without saying a word. I was just watching. And that's one of the things that I learned. I could have certainly made adjustments based on what my boater was doing, because he was catching fish. And unfortunately, I didn't make those adjustments until midway through the day. And after like my first 3 or 4 casts, I ended up getting stuck in the rocks. And if you're familiar with Lake Murray, you know that there's some pretty shallow areas, and there's no opportunity to go in there and get your lure. So I had to pop off my Fritz side, and I ended up popping off my spinnerbait. He didn't ask me to, but I knew we were in a crunch for time, and I knew that he was still trying to get 2 more in the boat, and I didn't want to hold him up, so I just pulled the spinnerbait off. Unknowingly, I didn't have another one in the bag, so I probably would have asked the question, hey, do you mind going back and get it? It wasn't like we were that far from it. But again, that's just me, being conscious of what my boater is trying to do, understanding that, yeah, you're the boater. Your entry fee was twice as much as mine. So there you go.